Hello, ladies and gentlemen. In today's video, we are going to be breaking down UFC 329, McGregor versus Holloway. And this is an absolutely stacked card, so let's get right into it, starting with the first fight of the night. Alessandro Costa versus Cody Durden. This is absolutely crazy. Alessandro Costa has fought like 2 times this month already, and both of them by knockout wins, and he's looked pretty good. I think the first one was against that Australian guy. The second one was against Matt Schnell. People are saying that was an early stoppage. I don't think so. I think if Matt Schnell is out cold, or if he gets dropped, just stop the fight. We know how this is going. We've seen this. I've played these games before. On the other hand, we have Cody Durden, who has also been fighting very frequently. The difference is he's not winning as much. And this is at flyweight. Flyweight's like the fucking weirdest division, especially in the unranked area. You never know what the fuck is going to happen. With that being said, I think Alessandro Costa, he's a little bit younger. He's at a better stage in his career right now. It seems like he always like had the power. He had the boxing. He was actually more so a grappler earlier on. Now he's more so embracing the striking, and he's just finding his flow. And he's getting finishes. And so I think he's going to knock out Cody Durden. I know Cody Durden just beat, I think, Jaffa Filho. But Jaffa Filho's not looking that good either. And then the guy who beat Jaffa Filho, Nascimento, he just lost. So everybody's losing. We don't know what the hell's going on. But Alessandro Costa should win this one. I'm going to say by knockout. And I think his takedown defense will be good enough to not get taken down. And on the feed, he should have the power advantage and just the skill advantage. So I'm picking Alessandro Costa by TKO. Let's move on to the next fight of the night. Ryan Gandra versus Zachary Reese. This is like a fight between somebody who we don't know if they're shit yet versus somebody who we know is shit. So Zachary Reese, we already know is dog shit. No offense. He has a decent record, 10-3. But he just lost to Michel Pereira. And that's not a good look, bro. Because we just saw what Michel Pereira looks like. He's the only person in recent history who has lost to Michel Pereira. Without him, Michel Pereira would be on like a 4-fight losing streak. But he made, and I know it was like kind of a robbery, and he sort of won that fight. But you can't even make it competitive with him. How are you losing a round past the first one against Michel Pereira? I don't know. On the other hand, we have Ryan Gandra. We don't know a lot about him. All we know is like his record. He has a lot of finishes. And they both beat that fucking tomato can. The difference is Ryan Gandra did it by knockout as opposed to Zachary Reese, who did it by decision. Let me find out which one that was. So what's that guy's name? God damn it. This guy, he's got one of those. He's got one of those names. Jose Medina. Jose Medina. I feel like he has a third name, Jose Delgado Medina, something like that. You know, like, you got to add one more name in there, these guys. Anyway, point is, Jose Medina is terrible, and Zachary Reese went to decision with him, and Ryan Gandra put him out. I know that's MMA math, but that's all we got. Like, Zachary Reese, he has a decent win against that guy with the long hair, but even then, he was getting outstruck, and I think, and he's a little chinny. He got knocked out by ground and pound, and like, it's not like a big deal, but like from close guard, ground and pound, like his head was bouncing off of the canvas. Even the referee kind of slid in and added a couple more in there. But yeah, I'm going to pick Ryan Gandra. We don't know a lot about him, but we already know Zachary Reese sucks. So at like worst case scenario, Ryan Gandra is a little bit worse, but I just don't think so. I think that he should win this one, and he's pretty big for, what is this, for middleweight. Let's move on to the next fight of the night. Farid Basharat versus John Garza. This is not opening for some reason. So whatever. I'm not going to be using stats for this one at all. All I know is that John Garza is like 6-1, and I think Farid Basharat is like 18-0 somehow. But it's one of those, it's one of the 18-0s where it's like, against who though, right? He hasn't fought a single ranked opponent, and they're all by decision. He has 0 knockouts or submissions in the UFC, but he has fought a lot of good people. I need some water or something. He just beat G Matsumoto. Before that, he had a couple other like decent wins. He's winning by decision, but I mean, G Matsumoto just won again, so like that age is winning pretty well. That win is aging pretty well. And I don't really know who John Garza is, and I don't really care to look into him. He's 6-1. He might be another Ethan Ewing, who actually Farid Basharat was supposed to fight originally. And I would have picked Ethan Ewing. I think Ethan Ewing would have knocked out Farid Basharat. It would have been a third undefeated fighter who he beat. But unfortunately, he pulled out, and so we have this guy on short notice. He looks decent, 6-1. I just don't think that he's the guy to beat Farid Basharat, you know? Like, Farid Basharat has fought pretty good people for outside the rankings. Again, that G Matsumoto win, that's a pretty good win, you know? Like, it's only him and Rob Font who've done it. And I don't know who John Garza is. He might win. I don't think so. How is he the favorite? Okay, he must be really good then. I'm not picking him. I don't know who he is. But somehow he's a favorite, unless it's all messed up on the odds over here. But I'm picking Farid Basharat by a classic Farid Basharat 30-27 decision. Somehow maybe a 29-28. We'll see what John Garza has. Let's move on to Damian Pinas versus Cesar Almeida. I think Pinas will be super explosive. Pinas will explode all over Cesar Almeida. Okay, seriously. Damian Pinas, he's very good. He's 9-1, and even that one loss, it's not really a loss, it's a DQ. And Cesar Almeida, on the other hand, he has like this like aura or mystique about him. Because back in the kickboxing days, he fought Pereira 3 times and won one of them, something like that. And like, good for you, man. But there's been too many of these guys. First of all, how many people beat Pereira? Because they keep on popping up. There's another guy who ended up just going back to glory because UFC wanted to pay him like 12 to show and 12 to win. But then there's this guy, and I mean, he looks good on the feet, but he's gotten rocked by Abdul Razak Al Hassan, I believe that's his name, and he ended up getting that sick knockout. But before then, he didn't look that good, and I think Damian Pinas will not rush in as much to get caught with that kind of like, what was it, a check hook, clean check hook or a cross, whichever one it was. I think like Damian Pinas, he is really good. He beat Wes Schultz in his debut in the UFC, and then Wes Schultz went on to win. He didn't look good in the win, but he did win, and Damian Pinas put him out like a minute and a half. So, yeah, Damian Pinas lasted for a minute and a half. But yeah, anyway, I think he's going to win. I think he's going to get a knockout over Cesar Almeida. And the thing is, with Cesar Almeida, he also does have a big weakness for grappling. Like, he can't stuff takedowns to save his life. Cesario Alexejczyk, who's Mikhail Alexejczyk's brother, just beat him with like a torn ACL, or maybe even 2 torn ACLs, whatever it is. Took him down with ease. And even on the feet, didn't look like that much. It just doesn't look like Cesar Almeida really is this high-level kickboxer. I know he beat Pereira once somehow. It just doesn't, not always does that translate to MMA, and it doesn't seem like it translates here, and I just have to pick Pinas. We're going with Pinas, and it's up to Cesar Almeida to prove us wrong. Let's move on. We're going through this quickly. Tracy Cortez versus Wang Cong. Or there's a... What do they call her? They have some other weird name for her that's not at all her name. Wang Tong, something like that. It's Wang Kong. I'm going to call her Wang Kong because that's how it's spelled. She's 9-1. Her only loss is by way of submission, and that does make it interesting with Tracy Cortez, but I just can't pick Tracy Cortez. After seeing one of your fake eyelashes fall off mid-fight, I just can't pick you anymore. I think I picked her actually for one fight after that, but that wasn't against somebody good. And Wang Kong is pretty good. She's a very good striker. Her only loss is by submission. I don't think Tracy Cortez will be able to submit her. Even if she takes her down, I don't think she'll be able to create enough damage to win a decision. She is the thing you have to consider, and I said this in my last breakdown with attractive female. When attractive females fight, all of a sudden ground control matters, and if there's a close decision, it goes to them. With that being said, I think Wang Kong, in her last fight, her opponent just kept on trying to take her down, and she was doing very good with stuffing the takedowns and out-damaging. And I think she'll be able to do that again. And even the fight where she got submitted, she did get dropped first. It's not a good look that she got dropped, but it means like it's not just easy. You can't just ragdoll her. She's been training for a while, and you have to assume if she's that good of a kickboxer, she's been training her grappling defense. You have to hope. So I think she'll win. She should win. She looks good for a female. She's one of like the very few females who, when she throws a jab cross, it looks like a jab cross. It doesn't look like she just joined a cardio kickboxing class. So she should win. Hopefully, she's one of the only stars we have. You know, she does her thing with the clown makeup, the Joker makeup. I like her. She's got personality. So I hope she wins. I'll be rooting for her. And she should win this. She should win against Tracy Cortez. But I wouldn't be surprised if Tracy just holds her down for 3 rounds. Now, let's move on to the prelims. Luke Riley versus Kamaka III. Now listen, if it was Kamaka the first or Kamaka the second, this would be easy night for Luke Riley. But this is Kamaka the third. So this is where it gets interesting. How does the third variation of Kamaka do against Luke Riley? I do think Luke Riley wins this one. Kamaka, he's back, right? He's been in the UFC. He left the UFC, went on a little bit of a tear on the regional scene. He's back. He's back and better than ever. And he's not that old either. He's surprisingly young. It doesn't say the ages on this website, and I don't like that at all. But it's a thing that they do. But he's pretty good. 18-7. It's not a great record, but against some decent guys. But his last fight, basically when he came back into the UFC, he fought something Hope, and he looked fine. But it was like a split decision, and that guy might go on to be a prospect of his own. But just by the eye test, watching, it didn't seem that high level, you know? And Luke Riley is undefeated. He has a lot of knockouts. I know his last fight, he went to decision with Michael Aswell, and now Michael Aswell just lost to Ilia Pturo. But regardless, he still did beat him. And I think that Michael Aswell fought a much better fight in that one than his last fight. His last fight, he didn't look like he fought. It wasn't the same Michael Aswell that did show up. And I think Luke Riley should be able to pull this off. He has really good boxing. He has good takedown defense. I think his fight before that, where he fought that bald guy, the bald short guy, the stocky guy who always comes in and puts on fucking wars. I think you know what I'm talking about. He's got some weird name. He fought him, and that guy was putting a pace on him and tried to take him down for a full round. And Luke Riley just survived, and then in round 2 knocked him out. You know, so he already kind of had that test. Where like, all right, what happens if a pace is put on you? And we saw he did survive. So and Kai Kamaka, he's well rounded, but he doesn't really excel at any one thing. You know, he's just mid. That's how I would say it. He's just mid. And I think Luke Riley is a little bit better than mid. So I'm gonna be going with Luke Riley. Let's go by knockout. Knockout. Let's do second round again. You know, if it landed last time, why not do it again? Luke Riley, second round after an interesting competitive first round. Let's move on to the next fight of the night. Cody Garbrandt versus Adrian Yanez, or as I'm told, Yanez, because that's what's important in this. There was a time where Cody Garbrandt, well, there was a one time where Cody Garbrandt looked like he was on top of the world, but after that one specific time, there was like a rule of thumb where like, okay, if Cody Garbrandt fights somebody really good with a lot of power, he's going to get knocked the fuck out. But if he fights somebody who's like, and we don't really know if they're even ranked material, he'll knock them the fuck out, right? It's like, is he going to knock somebody out or is he going to get knocked out in his fights? And he's like a fraud checker in a way. And he'll look amazing against these people who are like unranked. Like he'll look like he's in his prime again until he fights somebody even decently good and then he gets wiped up. But then recently, he's just been looking bad against everybody. In his last fight against that something Shao, I don't know what that he's Japanese or Chinese, one of the knees is. And Cody Garbrandt looked really bad. And I know it says there's a win on his record for that, but that's because he like the other guy got 2 points taken away for kicking him in the balls like 10 times. But even then, it's like he basically lost every round. He maybe won one round, maybe 2 or whatever, but no, he won 1 round, I think. It should have been like a draw or whatever it is. I don't really know. The whole points taking thing confuses it all. The point is, he didn't look good in that fight. And that was against an opponent that prime Cody Garbrandt, like even prime after he lost the belt, would have knocked that guy out. So he's not looking good. And on the other hand, Adrian Yanez, he's been having his ups and downs, but recently he's been looking good. He's been looking like he finally got the takedown defense in. So Cody Garbrandt won't be able to get those off on him. And then on the feet, his boxing is back. He's learned how to jab better. You know, he's not as open on the feet anymore. In his last fight against Ricky Simon, he looked good. He did. He was stuffing the takedowns. I think that they had that as a loss or a draw. I think it was a draw. But he kind of won that fight. I picked Ricky Simon, so I'm not going to complain when it goes to a draw. But with that being said, it was kind of robbery. And I think Adrian Yanez should win this fight by knockout. Cody Garbrandt's a little bit chinny these days. Well, not these days. He's always been really chinny. I don't know why I'm saying a little bit chinny. He's just been chinny. That's part of his character, is he's chinny. Yeah, I think Adrian Yanez should be able to knock him out. Look, if Cody Garbrandt wins, I'll be happy. I'm not going to complain with a Cody Garbrandt masterclass. I just don't see it. I think Cody Garbrandt is past his prime. I don't know how old he is, but he's got to be late 30s at this point. And this is a tough opponent. Adrian Yanez is better than the last guy Cody Garbrandt fought, and he pretty much lost to that guy already, you know? So, yeah, Adrian Yanez by knockout. This is fun. I feel like I'm picking everyone by knockout. All right, are we on the main card? No, listen, no way. For some reason, I thought they'll just put Gable Steveson on the main card because they're fucking retards, and he's gonna get the Bo Nickel treatment. But he's not on the main card. He is fighting Elisha Elison. None of us know who Elisha Elison is. I actually, whatever. He has one fight in the UFC against Brando Pericic where he got flatlined. So we got a nice tomato can for Gable Steveson to fight in his UFC debut. He should win this. He's going to win this. This fight was made for him to win. And I think, here's my controversial take. I think he's going to win by knockout. I think that he's going to fake the takedown. He's going to do what the wrestlers do in their debut. You know that they're a big wrestler. So what is he going to do? Fake the takedown, come over with the overhand. Elisha Elison gets flatlined, and everyone is like, wow, look how well-rounded he is. He fought a tomato can and knocked him out instead of taking him down. Whoa! But he sucks. And I can't wait for him to get flatlined. If you watch any of his fights, you'll see, like, he has terrible defense. His chin is way up in the air. This is Gable Steveson I'm talking about. And he's going to get flatlined by even a slight step up in competition. It's just not going to be Elisha Elison, this guy with the 5-2 record. It's not going to be him. It's going to be somebody, just not him. So unfortunately, it won't be this day. Next time we'll get you, Gable. You won't get away next time. So I'm picking Gable Steveson by round knockout. And let's move on to Robert Whittaker versus Nikita Krylov. It's a crime that this is on the prelims. It's the prelim headliner. But the one above this, which is like Bobby Green, Terrence McKinney, should be under this. I think they kind of want to finish off the prelims with a big fight, and then we know how Bobby Green versus Terrence McKinney goes. Like, not necessarily do we know who's going to win, but we know how long that fight's going to last for. So you kind of want to start the pay-per-view with like a bang. But yeah, Robert Whittaker, Nikita Krylov. This is, in my opinion, a great matchup for Robert Whittaker. He's moving up a weight class, which is not something he should have done. Like, he's already a pretty small middleweight. I don't know what the hell he's doing at light heavyweight, but apparently he walks around 230 or whatever. That's what I'm told. That's what he says. I don't really believe him, but whatever. But this is a good stylistic matchup for him. He should win this one, even though Nikita Krylov is 3 inches taller than him. Is Robert Whittaker really 6 feet? He doesn't even feel like he's 6 feet. He feels like he's shorter than that. But whatever. Well, I'll believe you. I'll take your word for it. You're 6 feet tall. And look, like, has his career been a little bit up and down? Yes. But he did recently beat Paulo Costa. Like, Paulo Costa, when he came back and has been looking pretty good, he did beat him. And then when he lost to Hamza when he came in with a fucking dislocated jaw or whatever. Maybe information that you want to let us know before you go into that fight with the guy who's known for his rear naked chokes. It's okay. It's fine. You broke my heart, but it's fine. It's okay. I was telling everybody this is the guy to beat Hamza, and now I look dumb. But that's fine. No, you should have definitely taken that fight with whatever the fuck is going wrong with your mouth. So there was that one. And then he fought RDR, and that was like a split decision loss, which could have gone his way, could have not. And RDR was so much bigger than him, which again, I don't understand how he's going to light heavyweight now. He's going to be completely outsized. But Nikita Krylov's not that good. That's what this comes down to. Nikita Krylov, he's like a Timu Yuri Prohaska, but he doesn't have the chin that Yuri Prohaska does. Yuri Prohaska doesn't have the chin that Yuri Prohaska used to have either. But he's even worse. And he doesn't have the power that Yuri Prohaska has. He kind of just has the weirdness of Yuri Prohaska. He only got the bad attributes. And he looks bad. I know he's coming off of a win against Modestas Spakauskas, but he didn't even look good in that fight. He was getting rocked at moments, and I think Robert Whittaker is going to have the big speed advantage, and he's going to have a fundamental advantage of just being defensively sound, and I think he's going to, man, the head kick. Can he land the head kick on a 6'3" opponent? I think so. He dropped RDR, which is like pretty impressive. That's pretty nice. I don't even think Kyle Brahalio dropped RDR. So he still does have that power. I think it will translate to light heavyweight, and he'll have the speed advantage. So he should win this one by knockout. I don't see Nikita Krylov not like beating him. Maybe the power will be too much, but Nikita Krylov lost to Dominic Reyes. He made Dominic Reyes think that he can beat Olberg. You know, we all had to see that because of you, Nikita Krylov. You made him think that he can be a champion again. You gave us all hope. I'm picking Robert Whittaker by knockout. I hope I broke this down enough. I just think he'll be better, faster, and he's just better. Like, he was at a higher level of MMA. He's fighting backwards, because Nikita Krylov's ranked, like, if he is ranked, I don't know what the rankings are, but if he's ranked like number 14 or something like that, like very low down in the rankings. Robert Whittaker is fighting up a weight class and down the rankings, so he'll have the speed advantage and he'll have the skill advantage. And yeah, so let's move on to the main card. Bobby Green, King Green. No, we're not calling you that. You're a grown-ass adult. Versus Terrence McKinney. So, will Bobby Green make his opponent look like he doesn't deserve to be in an octagon and he should never fight MMA? Or will Bobby Green get flatlined in round 1? There's no way to know. It's canon Bobby Green event right here. And on the other hand, will Terrence McKinney flatline his opponent in round 1, or will he get flatlined in round 1? We have two people here who are completely unreliable. You never know what's going to happen with their fights, and they're fighting each other. So now you really don't know what the fuck's going to happen. If I had to make a distinction, it seems like with Bobby Green, there's a pattern to who he wins to and who he loses to. With Terrence McKinney, there isn't really a pattern at all. With like Terrence McKinney is losing to people who still end up not being much. Versus Bobby Green, like he's losing to Rufy, Jalen Turner, who else is Paddy Pimblett. Like these people all go on to be pretty good. Versus like Terrence McKinney, he'll lose to Drew Dober. I mean, they both lost to Drew Dober. But that's self-explanatory that they both lost to Drew Dober. But Terrence McKinney lost to Ribovich, which, like, he's pretty good, but he's not that good. He never made it to the height of the people who beat Bobby Green. So who gets knocked up by the better opponents is what we're asking. I think this is a... Can Bobby Green survive the first 2 minutes? Can he survive that 1-2 down the pipe? I think so. If Terrence McKinney was more of a kicker, that sometimes gives Bobby Green issues, or if he might try to shoot early, but I don't think he'll be able to TKO Bobby Green on the ground, and I don't think he'll be able to overwhelm you. That's what he does well. He overwhelms opponents that are like, I mean, Kyle Nelson. Like, he didn't land a single strike in that whole fight, but he just overwhelmed him with, he landed a kick on the guard. It kind of impact drops Kyle Nelson, and then he just punched him like 50 times on the guard, and the ref had to stop the fight, but he wasn't concussed. And I don't think you can overwhelm Bobby Green. I think you can catch him, but I don't think he will catch him, and he'll have good movement. And once you're out of like the first two minutes, it's over. Like, Terrence McKinney's kind of done. He doesn't go out of round 1. So I think Bobby Green will win this by knockout, but I don't know. This is like complete coin flip, absolute coin flip. Let's move on to the next fight of the night. Brandon Royval versus Loner Kavanaugh. I'm going to be picking Loner Kavanaugh. Brandon Royval, I mean, the first, what is it? He just got flatlined by Manel Kape, but he's coming back after that. Before that, he lost to Joshua Van, and he looked good against Joshua Van, but not that good. Like, the one thing that I always, like, held nicely for Royval is, like, his win over Tatsuro Taira, right? He also beat Moreno before that, but I mean, Moreno is a weird guy. Like, sometimes he looks good, sometimes he looks bad. Against Loner Kavanaugh in the last fight, Loner Kavanaugh beat him up on the feet. And then, like, Brandon Royval went to, like, a close decision with Moreno. Now, was that a better Moreno, a worse Moreno? I don't know, man, because every time he shows up, he looks different. But the Tatsuro Taira one, I thought that was a nice victory because that was the only loss of Tatsuro Taira's career. But then Tatsuro Taira just got messed up by, what's his name? Joshua Van. So, I don't know anymore. That's not that impressive of a win anymore because now you beat him by a close decision and Joshua Van fucked him up on the feet. So I'm starting to not think about your striking that highly anymore. And Loner Kavanaugh, it's weird because within one fight, we're talking about him as a top contender. Before his last fight, he got knocked out by Charles Johnson. It happens to the best of us. And it's like, okay, how many more fights does he have to get before we're talking about him again as like a contender, you know, or like a title contender? And now it's like he's one fight away. And it was on short notice. He beats Moreno on short notice. Used the calf kicks, which is something that I think will work against Brandon Royval as well. He's got lanky legs. I know that Joshua Van was using a lot of knee stomps as well, to like just something to add in there. And I think Loner Kavanaugh should be able to use that too. So I do think Loner Kavanaugh will win. It's a 3-rounder as well. And Brandon Royval, like, he kind of needs 5-rounders. If you're gonna pick him, to like get the win over a contender, it's going to be by like later rounds coming into the fight. This is a 3-rounder. I think Loner Kavanaugh has enough cardio to at least do 3 hard rounds. I don't think Brandon Royval will catch him. He doesn't have a lot of like knockouts where he catches somebody, not recently at least, maybe earlier on. And so I'm going to be picking Loner Kavanaugh by decision. I'll say 29-28. Round 3, Royval makes somewhat of like a hoorah, like, you know, I ran out of time kind of thing. But I think Loner Kavanaugh should win this one. And I'm excited. Like, it's good. We have another contender at flyweight. But again, it's flyweight. Who the fuck knows, man? Flyweight, they're just so small. Nobody knows. What's going on? Okay, somebody was calling me. All right. Corey Sandhagen versus Mario Batista. This is another close one. Man, I mean, the matchmaking on this card is very good, actually. I'm very impressed with the matchmaking. Whoever did this, like, I mean, I would love to see Corey Sandhagen versus Sean O'Malley. Can we ever fucking get that fight? I don't know, but they already had to do Sean O'Malley versus Sahabi because they wanted him to get a nice knockout. And so now we're stuck with this one. This is a rematch. I do think Corey Sandhagen will win this, but the 3-rounder worries me a little bit. Mario Batista is a fast starter. He's a fast finisher, too. Like, not as in he finishes fights fast, but he has a very good pace, and he doesn't get tired. But I do think Corey Sandhagen is a lot more technical than him, and I don't think he'll get out-grappled. And now, if we're talking about on the feet, I think he's a lot more technical. He does have power. I know he doesn't have crazy power, but he was doing very well against Merab in that fight. I know he got dropped by Merab, and how are you going to let that happen to you, man? How are you going to get dropped by Merab? That's not a good look. But with that being said, he looked good in the grappling. Merab couldn't take him down, he could take him down, but he couldn't hold him down. And Mario Batista, I know he just beat Vinicius Oliveira, but Vinicius Oliveira looked fucking dog shit in that fight. He even looked dog shit. He looks dog shit every fight, but he looked like extremely dog shit, uncharacteristically dog shit in that fight. I think if you listen to him, he was cutting 97 pounds or whatever the fuck. I don't think he was cutting that much, but he was cutting way too much. Let's just put it that way, and just looked really bad. If anything, if you want to make the case for Mario Batista, you'd make the case that he looked really good against Umar. And he looked better against Umar than Corey Sandhagen did. But I think that was a case of Corey Sandhagen getting into his head too much, and just thinking about the grappling so much that he wasn't really focused on his striking, and he kind of got outstruck by Umar. But even Umar couldn't hold him down. So we can kind of take the grappling out of this, unless Mario does what he does best, and holds you against the cage. But really, it's kind of like a casual take to call Mario Batista a boring fighter. He actually has super entertaining fights. He had one really bad fight. But the fight right before that, he fought Ricky Simón, and that was like, that was a really good fight. That was really good. When I watched that, I thought that was going to be like fight of the year. I was wrong. There were a lot better fights that came after that. But it was a very fun fight, and he has good cardio, so he keeps a high pace. But I do think Corey Sandhagen, again, he's a lot more technical, and if the fight does stay on the feet, he's going to be able to set these traps, these sneaky little traps, and also Justin Gaethje just won, and they're teammates, so, like, you know, let's use that momentum. I think he'll win, but it's a close one. This is like a good fight to make. Both of Umar's children fighting it out. Children, guys, I told you not to fight. That's how Umar's going to be like this weekend. But yeah, I think Corey Sandhagen should win this one. But it's a fun fight. Let's move on to the co-main event. Benoit Saint-Denis versus Paddy Pimblett. Motherfucker, Paddy Pimblett. Okay, this is an interesting one. I'm weirdly confident in Paddy Pimblett for this one. I'm picking Paddy Pimblett. And the reason why is, like, I'm trying to picture what can Benoit Saint-Denis do to Paddy Pimblett, right? Like, what are you picking him by? You're picking him by knockout? Like, Justin Gaethje couldn't knock out Paddy Pimblett, but Benoit is the one. Benoit Saint-Denis, he will be the one to knock out Paddy Pimblett. You're picking him by submission? I don't think so, bro. I don't think he's submitting Paddy Pimblett. Is this a 5-rounder? I don't know. How do I find out? There's no, I don't know, man. I don't know if it's 5. It doesn't really matter. Hold on. I'm sorry, guys. Let's figure this out. Is Benoit Saint-Denis versus Paddy Pimblett a 5-rounder? Come on. No. Okay, it's not. Well, that sucks. Because part of a lot of my pick was depending on that being a 5-rounder. What the fuck, guys? Make it a 5-rounder. It's a co-main event. I want to see 5 rounds of this. I'm picking Paddy Pimblett either way. This is not good, man. But yeah, I'm still pretty confident in Paddy Pimblett. I think he's going to win because, okay, so Benoit can't knock him out. I don't think he'll out-grapple him. He'll be able to take him down. Paddy Pimblett can take him down, but will he want to? He almost got submitted by a guillotine like 3 different times by Dustin Poirier. Look, we laugh all we want. Don't be silly, jump the gilly. But he almost got tapped by that gilly like multiple times. And I think against Paddy Pimblett, like, Paddy Pimblett's guillotine is better than Poirier's. Can we all admit that? Can we all come together and admit Dustin Poirier is not that good at guillotines? I think Paddy Pimblett also has a triangle from there. You try to take him down, he's jumping a triangle on you. He's finished some of those against the cage. And on the feet, let's talk about let's say Benoit is not having the best on the ground, which I don't think he will have that much success on the ground. I'm going to stop picking Paddy to shoot takedowns because he doesn't do that, as we learned in his last fight. But let's talk about his last fight against Justin Gaethje. For the amount of time that fight took place on the feet, Paddy Pimblett really impressed me. Like, he looked better on the feet than I would expect. Obviously, he was losing on the feet, but those teeps were working, the body kicks were working. And I have a very controversial take about that fight versus Justin Gaethje. I think it should have been ruled a draw. Because there are two rounds that I think Paddy Pimblett won, and Justin Gaethje was eye-poking a lot, and a point should have been taken for that. But that's not the point. The point is, he was getting eye-poked a lot in that fight, and he was still doing pretty well on the feet. And he didn't get knocked out by Gaethje. Hey, better than Topuria, bitch, you know? Forget everything you know about MMA. Paddy Pimblett is better than Topuria, confirmed. And I think he beats Benoit Saint-Denis. Benoit has staff. Let's bring that onto the table. We're just bringing everything onto the table. Benoit has staff. I add that to the equation as well. We saw it all on his shin. And we've seen this. I've played these games before as well. Benoit's had staff before, and he fought him. Is this the best fighter Benoit has fought? I think so. Rufy's probably better, and it's a weird win that Benoit has against Rufy. But Rufy didn't have the best game plan. If you listen to him, he was like half dead. You know the Brazilian excuse when you lose? You're like, I wasn't there that day. You know, that Charles Alvarez pulled it off, Pereira's pulled it off, Rufy has pulled it off. Sometimes these Brazilians, they don't show up to the fights. I don't know, just their body does without their soul. And that's what happened, I guess, versus Rufy. But Rufy reversed Benoit multiple times on the ground, and instead of sitting there and doing ground and pound, he got up. If Paddy's in those positions, he's landing ground and pound, he's going for submissions. I think Paddy will win this fight by submission. Benoit has power on the feet, but not enough to knock him out. And Dan Hooker, I know he beat Dan Hooker, but Dan Hooker was stinging him with teeps to the body. And Paddy can throw those too. He has nice teeps, nice body kicks. If Benoit tries to shoot, he has a flying knee. And yeah, like, I think this fight will stay on the feet for a long time. And when it does, I think Paddy will sting him, will land damage. And if he doesn't win by submission, he'll win by decision. I'm picking Paddy Pimblett. Let's move on to the main event of the evening. Conor McGregor versus Max Holloway. Now, before I get into this breakdown, I want to read to you guys a little list. This is a list I compiled of things that have happened, or things that were happening at the time when Conor McGregor had his last win. So, by Conor McGregor's last win, John Jones was still light heavyweight champion. All right? Just putting that out there. Khabib hasn't fought Gaethje yet. Pereira was still a glory kickboxer. Aspinall was on the regional scene in MMA. Hasn't even joined the UFC yet. This is all stuff that have happened at the time of Conor McGregor's last win. Joshua Van was in high school and hadn't even had the thought of fighting MMA. Tony Ferguson was on a 12-fight winning streak at the time of Conor McGregor's last fight. Hamza Chimaev didn't even make his debut yet. So, who do you think I'm going to pick based off all these statistics I just read for you? This is all since Conor McGregor's last win against Cowboy Cerrone in 2020. It was January 2020, I believe. So let's get into the breakdown now that I've read to you all those stats. I think Max Holloway is going to win by round 3 or round 4 TKO. Look, I just rewatched all of Conor McGregor's fights, so I'm hyped. I want him to win. I want the Mac to be back, but I don't think he is. I understand that, okay, let's talk about the only way Conor McGregor could win. There's people saying that he's going to win by grappling. I don't think that's the case. You're not Charles Oliveira, bro. You're not winning by grappling. It's not going to happen. I understand. We just saw Charles Oliveira out-grapple Max Holloway. So did we saw him do that to fucking Garbrandt too. And Garbrandt's a good grappler. I don't think fucking Conor could out-grapple Garbrandt. So I don't think he's going to beat Charles by grappling. The only chance he really... And also, he doesn't have the cardio for it. He's not going to submit Max. He's not going to ground and pound TKO him. So he's going to have to do that for 5 rounds. You think Conor has the cardio to do that for 5 rounds? In Conor's prime, he had a solid 2 rounds in him. In his prime. Against Nate Diaz. Against Khabib. Round 3, he actually did pretty good, but Khabib laid off the gas pedal over there. And that wasn't really prime. He gassed out in boxing. He doesn't have good cardio. And Max Holloway does. And I think round 1, he's going to come in with a lot of power. He's going to come in bigger than Max Holloway. He will have the size advantage. But in round 1, he might... I'd predict that he'll drop Max Holloway in round 1. And then Max Holloway will recover. You'll be scared. We'll all be scared for a second. But also, I want Conor to win. It's great for the sport. And then in round 2, I think he's going to start... He's going to be good in round 2 as well. But Max Holloway is going to start popping it with the jab. And the calf kicks. And it's not powerful calf kicks, but just enough. And stomping the lean knee. And throwing body kicks. And Conor McGregor, he's past his prime. He's not coming back prime McGregor. Look, if this was prime McGregor versus prime Holloway, there's a conversation to be had. And I don't think Holloway's in his prime either. But Holloway sure as hell is closer to his prime than Conor is. He's so far from it. I think the last time we saw really prime McGregor was the Alvarez performance. And then you can say the Cowboy one. But even then, it's like, that only lasted 40 seconds. We don't really know. The Poirier, the third fight, he looked all right. But he didn't look great. He looked like that's the closest he's been to prime McGregor in recent history, but still not all that good. And now he's going to come in stocky, and something that Conor McGregor was really good at, it was like snapping out that jab cross. That cross, right? It was quick. It was snappy. He said precision, what does he say? Timing beats speed, right? I don't think he's going to have the timing anymore, and I don't think he'll have the speed anymore, because when you're stocky, you don't have the speed. His whole thing was being lanky. He's not going to be lanky. He's coming in like a fucking turtle now. And let's talk about Max Holloway. I know he's been dropped in his past couple fights, and we have that vision now of Max Holloway getting dropped, but he still has a good chin. I just rewatched the Poirier fight, the third one. He could have finished Poirier in round 1 and 2. I bet you he saw Poirier. He's like, man, it's his last fight. I don't want to fucking embarrass him in front of his home crowd. So he didn't finish him. He dropped him twice in round 1. Dropped him again in round 2. And I know he got dropped as well. But it wasn't as bad. His back didn't hit the canvas. He kind of dropped his hands, got right back up. Poirier ended up pulling the guillotine. Didn't work out for him. But the point is, Max Holloway, I know he's been dropped, and I think Conor could drop him. He has the power for it. Absolutely. Without a doubt. I don't think he'll be able to finish Holloway. I don't think he's at the Poirier level. And Holloway schooled Gaethje. He schooled Poirier in that third fight. It was like a competitive one, but he won. It was a 49-46. He made Gaethje look dumb. Gaethje now beats to Poirier. Holloway lost it to Poirier. We don't understand how any of this works. But Holloway should win this. He should. I get the feeling. I get the gut feeling. The Mac is back. We're all watching highlights from 15 years ago, 10 years ago, when Conor McGregor knocked out Jose Aldo. What was that, 11, 12 years ago at this point? 2014? Yeah, 12 years ago. I feel it, man. I'm a very big McGregor fan. I just don't... The dream is over. Santa isn't real. And McGregor isn't going to win. Sorry, guys. I want him to as well. I really do. And if he does, I'll rejoice, and the sport's going to be better off for it. I just don't think so. So anyway, that's my thoughts on the event as a whole. I went through all the fights. And what the fuck is this AI slop? That's the last thing I want to say. What is this? Why can't you just take pictures of them? Is it really that hard? Do we have to make it all AI? Anyway, that's my thoughts for all of this. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. And stay tuned for videos that we have next.